I have to ask you a tough question about Rachael.
You got to be very careful about what you're doing on social media.
I have a responsibility to the women that are here, to Brittany, to myself. To follow my heart.
Matt, I thought that you handled everything last night so beautifully. How do you feel? Anything you would have done differently when managing the toxic situation that had built up in the house?
I think you can only act according to what information you're working off of. And when Rachael and Katie made that information apparent to me, then it was on me to take the next steps. And for me, it's about creating a safe environment for all the women in the house so that we can really connect with one another. And that's what I felt like we did last night.
Here's to love.
It's been a little hard as a viewer to watch and figure out who isn't involved in the toxicity. Which women would you say you can confidently say were not part of that bad behavior?
Yeah, you know what? I wasn't taking tabs on it. Every time, I guess Michelle wasn't involved in anything. Every time I spoke with Michelle, it was super intentional and it was about our relationship, and we're trying to catch up on lost time. Same with Ryan. I guess so the new women who came later on in the journey, I never saw anything up until this point about them being negative or toxic in the house. So it was refreshing to be around them.
Well, the real questions are going to be about Queen Victoria.
I honestly feel so sorry for you that you would listen to hearsay and not all of the facts behind a situation. So, goodbye.
Matt, what was going through your mind at the rose ceremony when you'd sent her home and she's just standing there chewing you out and you just didn't say anything?
Lauren, I was out of juice. I had no more words. I had nothing for her. There was nothing in the tank. At that point of the night, I just had nothing.
She then said to the camera,
I'm never dating another Matt as long as I live, ever. I hate that name now.
It's unfortunate. A lot of Matts are going to miss out on a queen, and they're going to have to. That's something they're going to have to take on the chin.
How do you feel about Victoria right here, right now, today?
I feel like I dropped the ball. I had an opportunity there where I misread the opportunity. I misread her at the house. I think that if I would have handled our relationship a little differently, then maybe she would have had a better understanding of how to navigate what I'm looking for in a woman, and maybe she would have had a more positive experience. So I take part of the blame for that and not just being more aware of what was going on.
Wow, that's very big of you, Matt, to take part of the blame for her behavior. A lot of people are watching, and Victoria is so wild that a lot of people are watching and wondering if you were influenced by producers to keep her around. What would you say to that?
The producers, they're there for you to bounce ideas off of. They don't tell you what to do and what not to do. And that's what I would say to that, Up until that episode, I really didn't know what was going on. And once it was made clear to me, then the decision was relatively easy.
Look, the Women Tell All is coming up, and I wonder this about Victoria. How do you think she'll be up there on that stage? Do you think she sees any of the realities of her? Do you think she'll own it? Okay, you just can't stop laughing, do you? What do you think, Matt? Matt?
I can't, I don't know. Lauren, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect. The very worst, I don't know. I would hope that at this point, watching it back, you kind of have a better grasp of your actions and maybe accountability for some of the name calling and whatnot. But, the bar is very low, unfortunately, but I'm hoping that, I'm hopeful. I would like to be pleasantly surprised, but I'm going to manage my expectations there.
Were there any red flags? Do you wish you'd sent her home sooner?
No, I don't have any regrets. I think everything happens for a reason, and everything that took place last night is in line with where we're at, and everything going forward is going to be a little bit more smooth sailing, and we're going to focus more on these love stories.
Let's talk about some of the love stories. You said you were falling in love with Rachael. You and Rachael had both said you'd never been in love before. And then you both said you were falling in love with each other. How did you know?
You just know, it's like, I think that first group date is when she really caught my eye, when we had the Bridezillas, and I saw a different side of her.
Who's got the red heart? Who's got the red heart? Rachael got it!
I saw the competitor, I saw things that I hadn't seen in her that first night, things I saw in a lot of women I hadn't seen. And from that moment on, we just shared a few moments that might not have been highlighted due to what had been going on with Victoria and other women in the house. But this has been a steady that had been a steady progression since the first week.
Okay.
And
so there were some moments we didn't see on TV. So you were falling in love with her at that moment.
Yeah, again, it was a feeling I hadn't felt. And you ask about the producer's influence. This is nothing that they're telling me to say or do. It's just, I felt it in the moment. And
You've never felt that before.
I felt it before, and I hadn't had that one-on-one time with Rachael. All of our time had been spent in that group date setting. So having that one-on-one time just affirmed how I felt and how she was feeling, which was nice. I hadn't felt it.
Yeah, to feel that for the first time ever, that is pretty amazing, Matt. Some eagle-eyed fans have noticed that you seem to be listening to Rachael's Spotify playlists. What does this mean? Are you and Rachael together right now?
There's a lot of music that I've taken from a bunch of women on the show. I've listened to Kit's playlist, I've listened to Michelle's playlist. I think that people are very eager to find any tea, and I lucky for me, I had a very good group of women, and I've taken a lot of what I've learned from them and applied it to my life. A lot of this shirt was inspired by Kit's fashion. A lot of things that I'm doing going forward were taken from my time with these women. So
I have to ask you a tough question about Rachael. Also, some fans and viewers have been saying that she's been liking some racist photos on Instagram and have pointed out some things about her social media. What do you say to that? Have you spoken to Rachael at all about any of this?
I haven't spoken to anybody since the show ended, but I would say that, there's you got to be very careful about what you're doing on social media. And I think that a lot of times, kind of what we dealt with last night is you hear something on the internet and it's fact. So I would just warrant people to be careful about making accusations before someone's had a chance to speak on it, because again, we saw how that happened with Brittany and Anna in last night's episode, and rumors are dark and they're nasty and they can ruin people's lives. So I would give people the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully she'll have her time to speak on that.
Fans have really rallied around Katie. They love her. There are some people crying for her to be the next Bachelorette. What do you think of that?
I mean, again, you saw night one the type of woman Katie is. She isn't going to be afraid to be herself, and you've seen that with the way that she's handled her business. It's no secret that she's still around, and again, with people being patient to see how everything plays out, Katie will have her time. And having a woman like that in the house made the experience better for everybody.
Your season has had the chance to showcase some really powerful conversations. Michelle talks about George Floyd, Chelsea discussing her hair. How does it felt for you to have some of those conversations play out on the show?
I think it's important because that's the world we live in. Those experiences make up the United States. They make up my love story. They make up the women that I pursue. And without their stories, then it wouldn't be an authentic journey for me to find love.
Got to ask about Tyler Cameron coming. What can you tease about that?
We had a little surprise in store for Tyler that he wasn't aware of. So I would keep your eyes open for that next week. And it was probably one of the highlights of my time there, is having your best friend there and potentially involved in something bigger than a conversation with me.
All right, and we're going to see one more familiar face. Heather is coming.
Hi, Chris.
I was in shock, and I think that people will be very interested to see how that plays out, as I've got a very strong relationship with Hannah, and Heather is one of Hannah's best friends. So it was a very interesting week.
Any last words you want to leave with us about your season and what we can expect?
Just a message around rumors and bullying. When you make accusations about somebody that have no merit, it's dangerous. And I would just encourage people to be smart with their words and make sure that they don't believe in everything they see and hear on the internet, because those are the times we're living in.
We kind of watched like a learning moment on the show, though, because you handled the resolution of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just saying in general, just everyone has a story, and I would just be receptive to that, and that's all.